for most of the 20th century. It was founded in 1926, British company, founded in 1926 by the merger of 4 chemical companies, supplied chemicals to the entire British Empire and beyond, all the way through the middle of the 20th century. Phenomenal worldwide, huge operation, vast market capital, one of the biggest firms on the London Stock Exchange. And for all this time, their goal was something like this: to be the world's leading chemical company, to support industry through chemistry. We want to be fantastic at chemistry and support industry in the British Empire. Phenomenal. Then in the early 1990s, something went wrong. And they changed their goal to this. Our objective is to maximize value for our shareholders by focusing on businesses where we have market leadership, a technological edge, and a world competitive cost base. Very impressive. Now, do you think the person who wrote this was a chemist? No. Do you think the person who wrote this was an accountant? Probably. Was it somebody who had a lot of eye on the market, more eye on the markets than the chemistry? Certainly. But okay, why not? It's not an unreasonable goal. It's a public company. It's on the stock exchange. Maximise shareholder value. What happened? By 2006, the entire organisation was gone. What happened was, by holding on to this goal, remember we're going to focus on businesses where we have market leadership and a technological edge and the world competitive cost base. And the number of businesses where that was true started to shrink. So they got rid of a bulk chemical business, and then another one, and then another one. And then they didn't have an advantage here anymore because somebody had overtaken them, so they got rid of that. And then they lost their competitive edge in this other market, so they got rid of that. And in less than 10 years, the whole lot was gone. And in 2006, the last division, Dulux Paints, was sold to a Swedish company, Mckergow, and that was the end. Now that's what happens if you take a goal too seriously. The biggest company on the FTSE, the FT index, gone. In the interest, we say we want to maximise shareholder value, and the result of 10 years of that is the shareholder value is 0. Now that's a pretty unsuccessful strategy. And I think that's what can happen if we start letting goals take the thing over. What are we trying to do? Chemistry. Okay, so beware of goals. So now then, instead of goals and targets and action plans, what are we going to do? Well, small steps get things moving. And we put this in the diagram, and it looks like this. The idea of small next steps, building on what's working already, taking us a little way into the future. And what's small, it depends on the context, but I'm usually talking about days. When it's tough in a company, days or at most weeks. Small next steps, building on what works, move us forward. And we take them. And then, of course, we take them. Where we are now moves, because it's building on what's working already, this moves a little bit towards the better future. Excellent. And as this moves towards the better future, what happens to this piece of the diagram here, what's working already? What happens to that? It gets bigger, it gets longer. We know more about what helps us to move in the right direction, which we can recycle and use and build on, and so on. And hey, guess what? Our better future is also moving. This is not a static thing. The goal is a static thing. The better future idea is moving, and we can adjust. And we can adjust. So let's think about this idea. Predict and control and dynamic steering. Two ways of thinking about how you run a company. Predict and control is the thing about let's set the target for the end of the year and then drive to it, which I mentioned earlier. railway train. I love railway trains. I think railways are phenomenal. They're very efficient. But are they flexible? All a railway train can do is be early, on time, or late, or it can crash. Right? That's it. Right? If you decide, oh, actually we don't want to go this way. We want to take a detour. Railway train is the last thing you need. Yeah? So railway trains have this very limited flexibility. Now, do not mistake this for me not liking railway trains. I think they're fantastic. But flexible and manoeuvrable railway system is not. Let's look at this on the other hand. This is the latest European fighter plane, the Eurofighter Typhoon. This could not fly without computers in it. Why not? Because it's engineered to be unstable. It's always unstable, it's always out of control, and the computers nudge it back into control humpty times a second. That buys you phenomenal maneuverability. It's exactly what you want in a fighter. Of course, the latest American fighters have the same kind of technology. Okay. If the computer breaks, you're in big trouble. But these days, of course, they have backup computers and all that. So it's built to be unstable. A railway train is built to be stable. A Typhoon is built to be unstable, and you get phenomenal maneuverability. But there are other machines that are closer to home that are also built to be unstable. Anyone know one of them? This thing, a bike, a push bike as we call it, bicycle. Bicycle is fundamentally unstable. That's why when you try and ride it slow, you end up wobbling with the handlebars. It's part of the engineering. Minute corrections is what keeps the bike going. It's always falling one way or the other, but the minute corrections and shifting of body weight of the rider keeps it up. Phenomenal maneuverability. Nice metaphor for an unstable thing that we keep nudging, which gives maneuverability, or a very stable thing that has no maneuverability. And I'd just like to draw your attention to the art of agile software development at this point. Has anyone come across agile programming, stuff like that? This is a way of programming software which is very akin to this philosophy. It's a very Rutenso kind of idea. Conventional software development is done by what used to be called the waterfall method, which means you spend 3 months talking to the potential users about their requirements, which you then freeze. And then you take it to the designers, and they think about the concept of the software for 3 months, which you then freeze, which then you take to the coding people, and they code the design of the software, which takes 3 months, which you then freeze, and then you take it back to the users. And what happens? It's not what they wanted. Not only because they didn't know what they wanted then, but things have changed. Yeah? So you have this phenomenally efficient system that provides exactly the wrong software. Now, Agile doesn't do it like that. Agile does it. We're going to embrace change. We know that people don't know what they want at the beginning. We know their requirements will change. We must therefore work with that. Talk to them. First estimate of what they want. 2-week development process. Produce something that's somewhat like that. Try it out with them. Talk to them again. 2-week development process number 2. Make it better. Talk to them again. Put in new features that have emerged. Talk to them again. 2-week development process. Go through these short chunks of 2 weeks of development. Try it out and interact. 2 weeks of development. Try it out and interact. And in the same time as the old one took, you not only have software that actually meets their requirements, but you've had software that's emerged and changed during the development process to meet new challenges that nobody knew at the beginning. Fantastic. Brilliant. And if you're interested in that, go and look at agile programming on the web. There's loads and loads about it there. Very, very interesting methodology using the Rutenso philosophy already. Okay, so we've been talking about some key things with solution focus and Rutenso. Looking for signs of what's wanted, looking at signs of what's working, taking small steps. Let's have a chat about difference for a minute.